Howdy, Albert Moore, Blue Jacket Archer here this afternoon. And today we're going to do, we have another bow tour part here. We're going to show you what it is in a minute. But over the last couple of months, we kind of strayed a little bit, so we apologize for that. Now, what do I mean by that? We strayed a little bit from our normal school of thought. Last couple of months, we've been highlighting and a lot of the new higher end bows, the Bear Executes, which we have more to do on those anyway, but the Elite Omnia and stuff like this, kind of leaving out the more affordable stuff. And given the state of the current economic climate in this nation, we won't get into my thoughts on that, but anyway, we get it. There's a lot of folks out there that just simply can't afford to spend $1,000+ on a bow, or just are not comfortable with spending that much money on a bow, even if they can afford it. Well, we're going to review a bow here to show you that you don't have to spend $1,000+ on a bow to still get a really good quality bow. All right, especially the one we're going to show you here. Some of these new mid-price bows on the market, again, especially this one, have really set a standard that approaches the higher end of stuff, but they're still affordable bows. So now this there's no shame to be had because you financially are not in a situation that you can swing $1,000+ bow, especially if you're raising a family, you've got bills, you got the food on the table, fuel in your car, stuff like this. So we get that. There's no shame to be in that at all. And don't think for 1 minute that you're giving up a lot of accuracy, a lot of other things that you expect in a higher end bow. In this bow here, you're just not giving up that much. You really are not. So without any further beating around the bush here, we're going to reintroduce a bow that Elite introduced last year into their line called the Terrain. All right, now this is all tore apart, but this is the riser of my sample model here. This is Elite Terrain. All right, and what we like about this bow, number one, the price range. This bow sells for in between 6 and 7 somewhere. And but what we found on this bow, the quality of this bow in this price range is just quite literally, in our opinion, off the charts. Most companies in this price range, you're not getting a sniff of some of the features that we see on this bow. Number one, a very, very nice finish. There's no flaws in here. There's no tooling marks anywhere. This is an exceptional finish on for a mid-price bow. And the second thing we find out about this bow after shooting them off and on now for a little over a year is the super light weight of this bow. Totally assembled, this bow only weighs right in at 3.9 pounds. If you're careful at what you put on this bow for accessories, you can literally get this bow set up with a sight, a rest, and a relatively lengthy stabilizer, cloud to 11-inch stabilizer, and still have this bow weigh in right at 5 pounds. All right, so that's pretty impressive. Most mid-price bows naked are weighing up right around 4.3 to 4.5 pounds, depending on the company, depending on the bow is. Now, when we tore this thing apart, now we knew this from the past, but we just want to bring it to people's attention. You have to compare this bow to other mid-price bows. Don't be comparing this bow to a $1,200 or $1,300 bow. No, there is a difference there. But the point is, keep it in its intended purpose. Keep it in the realm of comparing it to other mid-price bows. Now, why did I bring that up? Why am I so adamant about that? Because other mid-price bows out in the market, you're not getting the features that I'm going to show you here. All right, so we're going to start with the limbs and the cam. Now, we didn't take the cam apart. I mean, there's no point in it. It has standard 3/16 diameter axles, just like everybody else. It has plastic shims in here for the cam between the spacers, and it's held together with E-clips, just like everybody else is. Now, here's the difference that we notice on this cam. Number one, this cam draw is exceptionally smooth. Gives you decent speed. It's rated about 325 foot a second. Now, something we noticed here. the draw length adjustment module on this cam is aluminum. I mean, machine aluminum. It's not plastic. A lot of the bows out there, especially from the other companies in the under $1,000 price range, a lot of them are using even a plastic draw length module. Yeah, has that ever caused a problem? Well, maybe. It kind of depends on how brutal you are in the bow, but the point is this is aluminum. It is not plastic. That's one thing. Keep that in mind. Plastic is coming up here in a minute. Now, the next thing we noticed is the limb rockers for this bow. This is polymer. This is plastic. But look how it's shaped here. That limb pocket, or this rocker, I mean, goes on top of the limbs right here. Then it locks down into the limb pocket. You also notice there's two little nubbins right here that lock that rocker right down into the limb pocket. All right, there's no shift in movement. Nothing can shift or slide out of there. We have had some bows in here with this limb rocker, plastic limb rocker, which everybody has to use plastic here. If they didn't, I've said this before, if they don't use polymer or plastic for a rocker, you'll snap that limb off or crack it right where it bends down over the limb pocket here. So everybody has to use some form of polymer here just to keep the bows from busting the limbs. Now, but here's the difference on this one. Those little nubbins are actually locking that rocker right into that pocket. It can't slide in and out. We have had some other bows on the market come in here where these little plastic pieces just lay in the pocket. And we've had some of them actually start to creep out of the limb pocket. And if you don't catch it and it falls completely out, now your limbs are sitting there cockeyed or canted, and that can cause some major problems. So we're very happy to see that, a quality feature that you don't see on most other bows under the $1,000 price range. The second thing is it's bridged right here. So when that's in there and those limbs are in there, here again, nothing can twist, flex, or move. It's actually locking those limbs in there a little bit tighter and more positively aligned than what you would normally see on a bow of this price range. Now, we've said that. Let's get to the limb pocket itself. Folks, this is all aluminum. There is no plastic liners right here for the limb to lock into. It's all machined aluminum. I don't know if it's machined. It's probably cast, I would say. But the point is, it's aluminum. And it is very, very well, very, very nicely finished off. And if you look at the bottom here, there are little nubbins in there that the limb goes in here like this and got holes in the limbs. It locks it right in there so they can't slide out. All right, everything's locked in there very, very nice. A lot nicer feature. Listen, we know what's out there. We know what Hoyt has. We know what PSE has. We know what Bowtech has in this price range. We know what everybody has. And nobody in this price range is giving you an aluminum limb pocket, with the exceptions of Bear. Bear is also giving you aluminum limb pocket. Now, so that's a positive in our view. Now, why do I always keep bringing up the plastic liners and the aluminum limb pockets? Why do we see that as critical? Well, let's imagine this is an engine. This is the engine block. Okay? This is the engine block. This is the crankshaft. You can have a really good engine block in your car, but if your crankshaft isn't solid and holding everything together, nothing else matters. This is the attachment point. This is the working mechanism of the bow, just like the crankshaft in your engine. If this is not solid and holding everything together, things can start giving you problems down the road. So all aluminum limb pocket, very rigid, very strong. This is all one piece too, by the way. So now the limb pocket goes onto the riser like this right here, and it rocks right here. Right? It pivots on this ball right here. Now you put that in there, and it's held in there by these two relatively decent sized screws. These are not tiny little screws. These are actually, they could probably do a little beefier, but the point is, they rock, right, they go, that's what holds the limb pocket onto the engine block, all right? Now, the next thing it holds it on there, where most companies, Bear included, and a lot of others, I've got some dirt on my fingers. Anyway, the limb bolt. Most limb bolts, they just simply thread the riser and screw that limb bolt, that steel bolt right into that aluminum riser. Not Elite. they actually put a steel sleeve right into the riser, and then that bolt goes right down through here and screws into that steel sleeve. Usually you don't see a feature like this until you get into high-end bows. Most other companies that I have seen, there might be one or two out there doing this, but not so far, not many. Most of them are simply threading that riser, thread a hole in there, and thread the bolt, steel bolt right into the aluminum threads. So anyway, we have shot this bow for right about a little over a year now. And this thing has absolutely performed flawless. We've had no issues with it. It's tack driving accurate. We've had no accuracy issues with it. Now, I will tell you this up front. It's not the speediest thing in the planet. It is slightly, not really slow. It's rated at 325 foot a second. All right. And that's kind of average. In this price range, most bows are rated just somewhere between 320 and 330. So it's coming in right about middle of the road there for speed. The longer draw lengths won't have a problem with speed. You'll still get more than you want. Even the shorter draw length bow guys, you're still going to get some pretty decent speed out of it, given the price range it's in. So here again, keep in mind the price range it's in. If you're the type of person that buys a bow and they go to a few 3D shoots a year for fun and for practice, whatever, and then you get it out mostly August and September to bow hunt with, and you hunt with it, and then it goes back in the closet till next spring, this bow will perform absolutely flawless. You will find no issues with it. This bow here, folks, has had the literal snot shot out of this thing over a year. We have shot the snot out of this thing, and it has performed absolutely wonderfully. Absolutely perfect. No issues whatsoever. So, now, I'm going to show you one other Elite Terrain here, another package that we set up ourselves. All right? What did I do with it, Bob? Oh, here it is. This is also the Elite Terrain. All right? We took it upon ourselves because the bow's all U.S. made, which, folks, be careful. Be careful. Some of the companies now, and there's one major company out there, their mid-priced and budget bows are not being made in the U.S. anymore. Be careful of that. Elite is 100% U.S. made. All right? Now, we took it upon ourselves to create what we call the All-American Blue Jacket Terrain. All right? Every accessory on here is 100% U.S. made. We have a Hamsky limb-driven drop-away rest on there. One of the more premier rests on the market. We have a tree limb quiver on here, 100% U.S. made. We have a sword, 4-pin, fixed sight, all machined aluminum, 100% U.S. made. All right, the stabilizer, CBE Torx, U.S. made. I believe the carbon comes from overseas, which just about all of it does, but the rest of the stabilizer is all U.S. made. We call this the Blue Jacket Archery All-American Terrain Package. All-American products on this bow. Now this bow comes in about $975 with all these accessories on it, but you notice there's nothing cheap on here. This is all quality stuff. We built this ourselves, and we could not think of a better bow to do it on than a bow like the Terrain that justifies putting these accessories on it. So anyhow, folks, that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I wish we could get a hold of a lot of other bows to tear them apart to compare them to, but obviously the price of that just isn't conducive to do. Anyhow, I can't say enough about this bow, folks. In this price range, in the mid 600 price range, this thing just performs flawless, and it's built exceptionally well in that price range. All aluminum, no plastic. So, hey, that's it for today. This is Albert Moore from Blue Jacket Archery. Come on down to that little cabin in the valley and see what hunters shoot affordably. All right? Now, until next time, folks, have a great day. Thank you.